Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Fulani. Today, let's sort of focus on Ondo State in the lead up to the 2024 Ondo State Governorship election, where the incumbent governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, is the candidate of the ruling APC. And our guest this morning is the Chief Press Secretary to the Ondo State Governor, Prince Ebenezer Adeniyo. A fine morning to you, Prince.
Good morning.
All right, then. So, how indeed is Ondo State? We, as you know, we thought we'd check in with Ondo State to get your viewpoint of the state of affairs in terms of preparations towards the election coming up. That's in November 16, the November 16
Yes.
election. It is all set now.
Yeah, all is set. We are preparing, like you said, for the coming election, governorship election in Ondo State on November 16th. Ondo State is well and good. We are progressing well. We were happy to receive the management team of TVC, I think about a week ago. And I'm sure they went around, particularly in Akure, the state capital, to see that there is progress in Ondo State.
Okay. And as you can imagine, most people will want to hear about efforts at reconciliation because the competition, yeah, that's the word. The competition for the seat, for the ticket of the party, it was quite vibrant, and I imagine that you want to be sure that reconciliations are in place going forward. Tell me the rate of progress there. Is everybody sort of working towards that same goal, or are there any hiccups in terms of not everybody is interested in a reconciliation, or on the contrary, just everybody is working towards having a harmonious family when the election comes?
Thank you very much. You recall that it was a very thinly contested primary election, and we had 16 aspirants that contested for the ticket of the APC, including Mr. Governor Honorable Lucky Aiyedatiwa. And immediately after the primary election, he started the reconciliation process. He was doing one on one side, and then the leadership of the party, both at the state and national level, also doing reconciliation effort on the other side. So far so good. We have everybody on board, and Mr. Governor has done well in reaching out to everybody personally. He personally visited all the aspirants that contested with him for that ticket. And I'm sure by now, the people of Ondo State can see that the Ondo State chapter of the APC is united for the coming governorship election. And but of course, you know that for a primary election that was keenly contested with 16 aspirants, it's going to be a little bit more of a long journey for you to get to full reconciliation. But what we have achieved so far, I can say, is it's almost 90% of full reconciliation. Of course, we still have some minor gray areas which the party leadership and the governor are also working on. So I'm sure we have about 5 months or so before the election. I'm sure in the next 1 month, before we flag off the campaign of Mr. Governor and the APC, I'm sure by then we'll have achieved 100% reconciliation.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. And it's I appreciate the way you sort of quite diplomatically put it. So let me just, as it were, be less than diplomatic and mention one area of concern. Talking here about Senator Jimoh Ibrahim. He fought the fight. And but you can't fight forever. Are you at liberty to talk on that? Because I'll just respect whatever choice you make. Are you at liberty to talk about progress in that direction?
Yes, there is progress with, as regards Senator Jimoh Ibrahim. He's a leader of the party. Do not forget, he's a senator representing Ondo South Central District of Ondo State, where the governor also comes from. They are brothers, they are friends, and but of course, you know that he was the only aspirant after the primary election that challenged the outcome of the primary in court. Soon after, the Mr. Governor reached out to him in person, and also leaders of the party also reached out to him, and he eventually withdrew that case from court. And I can assure you that now we do not have any issue with Senator Jimoh Ibrahim. He's a leader of the party in Ondo State. He's a leader of the party in the country. So he's also working tirelessly for us to achieve victory in the APC. He's a senator of the Federal Republic and he's a senator of the APC. He's also concerned about the victory of the APC in Ondo State as a sitting senator of the party. So for all the aspirants, like I said, the governor is reaching out to them. I think about 3 weeks ago, Chief Olusola openly declared for the governor, bringing on board all members of his campaign and also making contributions towards the campaign of Mr. Governor. And now we are taking representation from all the aspirants for the party to put together a unifying effort towards the election by constituting a campaign committee that will bring everybody together. The governor has promised that nobody will be left out. And now, Mr. Governor is also making some appointments. Last week, he constituted the transition committee for local government. And this week, he's going to make some appointments too. And I know that some of the aspirants who contested with him have made their representation into the coming appointment that Mr. Governor will make in order to bring everybody on board. He has said that he's not going to run the government alone. All of us must come together to run the government. So, like I said, we are good to go for the coming governorship election.
Indeed. It sounds very, highly encouraging, especially as you mentioned that all these men of timber and caliber that took part in the contest. You mentioned Chief Olusola, the distinguished senator himself, and other people. All of them saying that, well, okay, that was then, so we move forward, and here we are now. Now, of course, APC is the ruling party, as I said, but it's not the only party that is interested in government house. How do you fancy their chances, the chances of the other political parties that will be vying for the same office?
In any contest, they say you should not underrate your opponent. We do not intend to underrate any opponent in this coming election. But we also know that the opposition in Ondo State is no match to the ruling APC. And this is not to boast, but we know that on a daily basis, leaders of the opposition parties, particularly PDP, are coming on board into the APC ahead of the election. Just last week, we had a former commissioner in Ilaje, PDP, a former commissioner, Lebi Adepiti, former chairman of Osopadek and vice chairman of the PDP in Ondo South Central District, a person of Prince Debo Ajimuda, along with other officers of the party, came into APC because they can see the handwriting of the wall that the party, the APC, will retain the governorship seat of Ondo State. But like I said, we do not intend to underrate any opponent. We are working hard day and night to ensure that we win the election. If you look at what we have politically in Ondo State now, you look at the structure of the APC, you will see that it's not one that any party can overrun. We have 3 senators from Ondo State. All the 3 senators are senators of the APC. Out of the 9 members of the House of Reps that we have, 8 of them are of the APC, only 1 for the PDP. And in the House of Assembly, we have I think 23 members out of 26 members of the House of Assembly. So this is a solid structure across the 18 local government areas of the state, across the 203 wards of Ondo State that no opposition party can match. But like I said, we are preparing, even though we have the structure on ground, we are preparing for the election.
Is Labour Party making having an interest in the election?
Well, the Labour Party, I think, has a candidate who, if I can recall, is the brother of a former governor of the state. But we have a challenger in the former deputy governor of Ondo State, Honorable Agbola Ajayi, of the PDP, who was the candidate of the Zenith Labour Party in the last governorship election. But after losing that election, some months before before the primary election of the PDP, he came back to the PDP to pick the ticket of the party. Do not forget that he was a deputy governor under the ticket of APC in the first term of late Oluwarotimi Odoayakedolu. He left that party, he left the APC to contest the 2020 election against his boss, and he left for PDP. But unfortunately, he couldn't pick the ticket of the PDP in 2020. So he defected to the Zenith Labour Party to contest, and he lost that election. Now he's back in PDP. So he has done a merry-go-round within the political parties in Ondo State just to achieve his ambition of becoming governor. But like I said, we are not underrating anybody, but his party is no match to the APC in Ondo State.
As you have sort of explained, APC considers that it has a formidable array, quite frankly, and that's going to be a tall order for anybody. But of course, you know, the spirit in politics is never say die. But before we continue, let me bring on Mr. George. Good morning, sir. He's our first caller, calling in from Lagos. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yari, and good morning to the gentleman on the other side.
Yeah.
Uncle Yari, it's gladdening to hear that the reconciliation efforts in Ondo State is taking on a good shape. That is good. We hope they maintain it till the election and ensure that they win with that spirit. But I would like to ask the gentleman a question.
Sure.
The governor has been there now for about 7 months or so, and by the time of the election, he would have spent a little over a year in office as governor. What the people will use the period he has been there before the election as a precursor to assess how he will perform as a governor. I want the CPS to the governor to give us a glimpse of some of the things the governor has done within this period he has been in office that should indicate what he will do when the election comes and he wins.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling in, Mr. George, because you took the words right out of my mouth. That indeed was the segment I was going to go to next. So I'm on all fours with that question. Prince Adeniyo, please go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. Like he said, Mr. Governor has been in office for about 7 months now. And do not forget that when he came into office, he had to face a primary election within the first quarter of his administration. And it is a bit difficult to balance governance with running for an election, but he has been able to do it successfully well. And when he came on board, he made a promise with the people of Ondo State that his priority would be to sustain the legacies of his former principal, the late Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, by completing all ongoing projects under that administration, because it's the same administration that started in 2017 with him as the deputy on that ticket. And he has said that all the ongoing projects and policies of the former governor will be sustained. And he has started doing that. He started by mobilizing contractors back to all the road projects that have been abandoned, the ones that are taking too long to complete. So all those projects are ongoing now. And all the policies of the former administration, what he has promised is to ensure that this administration will finish on a high note. And apart from that, what we have in Ondo State now, because of the economic challenges across the country, Mr. Governor has ensured that the workers of the state will be a major priority. Their welfare will be a major priority for him. In Ondo State now, the very first time in the issue of Ondo State, workers now take their salary before the end of the month. Last month, the salary was paid on the 25th of the month. And now, Mr. Governor recently has paid gratuities to pensioners. These are pensioners who are retired from service over a decade ago. And that's the second time this year that is going to pay a bulk of sum for as gratuities for pensioners. 1.2 billion naira was paid in January, and then last about 2-3 weeks ago, another 1 billion naira was paid, and he has promised that another tranche will be paid before the end of the year. And also for workers, we are paying wage award, the second highest in the country, of 35,000 naira to workers as part of measures to cushion the effects of the economic challenges in the country. School shuttle buses that were off the road before he came on board, all those shuttle buses are now back on the road, taking our kids to school and bringing them back from school to also ensure their safety. And not only buses, in the Riverina area of the state, we have boats conveying students to and from school every day. So we have a lot of projects, and in the higher institutions that we have in Ondo State, Mr. Governor has increased their subvention so that they can continue to improve on the quality of what they are doing in the schools. In Rufus Giwa Polytechnic, for instance, Mr. Governor has paid part of their backlog of salary arrears that he met in office, because that particular institution has been suffering from epileptic academic calendar for about 4 or 5 years. But that has been put to rest now. So we have a lot of ongoing projects going on across the state. Just 2 weeks ago, in order to enhance security in the state, Mr. Governor distributed 25 operational vehicles to all the security agencies in Ondo State to work with. And also, for the very first time in Ondo State in over 15 years, we are recruiting teachers for the very first time in over 15 years. Now we are recruiting 2,000 teachers, 1,000 in the primary sector and 1,000 in the secondary sector. And also, because of the Japa syndrome that has affected our health sector, we're also recruiting over 600 health workers across the state. In Akure today, if you go through Akure, like I said the last time that the management of TVC was here in Akure, of course, they could see the changes. That if you drive around Akure now, you see the changes. You see that waste management has improved. You see the street light that is everywhere now. The first phase has been completed. The second phase will start early next month. So we have a lot of programs that Mr. Governor is working towards. For the very first time in Ondo State now, in Akure, for instance, we've not had issues of flooding. Because waste management operation has improved, because Mr. Governor promised that he wants to return Akure back to his status as the cleanest state capital in Nigeria. Even though we are not where we want to be yet, but we are progressing gradually towards that status.
Okay, let me interject there. Engineer Gbenga has called in from Akure. Good morning to you, Engineer Gbenga.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. Yoli.
Thank you for calling in, sir. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm happy to connect with you. Yes, I want to thank you for bringing CPS of Ondo State to the studio this month. So, Mr. CPS, I'm very happy for all the analysis you have done concerning what Mr. Governor has done in the state. But I want to contribute this, sir. Things are very hard generally in Nigeria today, and very hard in Ondo State. There is lots Mr. Governor has to do more. As we all know that we have election coming by December. There are a lot of things that our governor has to do in terms of security. We all knew what is going on in the phone axis. Personally, it's difficult for me to travel along that axis now because of insecurity. If you travel there, you might likely be kidnapped. So the Mr. Governor should please help us to work more on the security of the state. That's one. Number two. And the issue of the contractors going back to site. I'm sorry to tell you that presently, I don't see any of our contractors working on our roads back on the site. Because probably because they have not been mobilized back to the site, or probably maybe the governor is still busy doing one or two things regarding the elections that is coming forth. But please, there are other things. When Mr. Governor came on board, one of his campaign promises is that he's going to continue working on the road infrastructures in the state. And presently, there are no new roads that's coming up in the state. Everywhere is too cold, sir, for our liking in the state. Let him brace up and do something more than what he's doing presently. Please, we want to see him on action more than what is going on. Because what people are saying is that maybe Mr. Governor is not competent enough to hold the office. But I do tell them that we should give him time. But I want him to look at the infrastructural projects in the state and do more than what he's doing presently. So please, the CPS, I really appreciate you. I know that you guys are doing a very great thing in the state, but I want him to do more.
Okay.
People are talking.
All right. Thank you very much for calling in. The proverbial Oliver Twist, the citizenry, is saying that, well done, Mr. Governor, but we want more still. What do you say to that, Prince?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start from the issue of security, particularly in Ose local government. Ose local government is one of the biggest local governments in the state with a lot of land mass, and it also shares a boundary with two states. And when you have a community, those border communities always have security challenges. Mr. Governor has deployed additional resources to that area. Our multiple agency has been fortified and to mobilize more resources to the area. Just yesterday, Mr. Governor had a mini emergency security council meeting as the chief security officer of the state to ensure that our area in Ifon and other communities within Ose local government that have been that have that challenges of security, of kidnapping, pockets of cases of kidnapping will be checkmated. So I can assure you, like I said too, that 2 weeks ago, Mr. Governor distributed 25 operational vehicles to security agencies. And like I said yesterday, he met with all of them, and they've been given all they need to work effectively well to combat the few challenges that we have in pockets within the state. Then he mentioned the issue of road projects. Of course, those contractors were mobilized back to site, and with particular reference to Ondo road realization and Ijoka road realization, I think they've recorded more than 25% progress since the governor mobilized them back to site. That is on top of about 55% that was done before Mr. Governor came on board. But of course, because they still have some artwork to do on the road, the heavy rain now has affected them, and so they have retreated a little bit. And I'm sure within the next 1 week or two, they will be back to continue the project. Not only that, we have Operation Zero Portal going on within the state that the Ministry of Information, the Ministry of Works Infrastructure is working towards repairing all our major roads across the state. So it's just what we are doing is not limited to Ondo State. If the last caller is resident in Ondo State, he may not have seen what the government is doing in other parts of the state. But of course, I know that Mr. Governor will continue to do more. Okay. Especially now that we are heading towards his own term in office. All right. But do not forget that the governor came into office with both assets and liabilities, and it is difficult to weather the storm, especially when they had to face a primary election within the first quarter and a major election within the last quarter of this year. But he's been able to balance governance and politics effectively well so far.
All right then. Mr. Dari in Idoani, good morning to you.
Mr. Yori, I really
appreciate Yori, thank you very much.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I'm calling from Idoani, and I just want to commend the governor for the wonderful work that he's doing. But the problem we have in that axis, Idoani axis, is security, sir. And at the same time, the CPS just mentioned that they are doing works on what the former governor was doing before. But Obato Idoani, sir, you cannot pass that place now. And Ipele to Idoani too, sir, is a dangerous, and the kidnapper are always on that road every night. We just have to commend the Amotekun that they are doing little job on that road, sir. But we pray and we are begging the governor to come and help us on that Obato Idoani road. It's a death trap. And I will appreciate if the CPS can help us to convey this message to the governor. We believe that the governor will perform because we know much about the track record. And we pray that you help us to do that. Idoani or Ipele to Idoani, sir, you will spend 4 hours before you get to Idoani, which is less than 30 minutes if you are driving from Ipele to Idoani, because the road is so bad. Over to Idoani is also very bad. Please, we appeal that this our governor, that our incoming governor, will help us to do that road before the election. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you very much for calling in. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think I just spoke about the issue of Ose Idoani also is in Ose local government, the peculiar problem we have there on the issue of kidnapping. But what Mr. Governor has done, like I'm happy that the man acknowledged the efforts of Amotekun there. What Mr. Governor has done is to tell other security agencies not to leave the operation of that place to Amotekun alone. That particular axis is the most difficult part of the state when it comes to communal transportation. And Mr. Governor has urged all other security agencies, the army, the police, and the rest, to complement the efforts of Amotekun in that area. So I'm sure by now they are mobilizing to the area.
All right then. Well, as our caption says, Ondo governorship elections in focus, and we do happen to be speaking to Prince Ebenezer Adenio, who is the Chief Press Secretary to the Ondo State Governor. But that is the APC view of things, and there is more than APC in the race. We've spoken about that. For instance, there is Mr. Agbola Ajayi. He's a former deputy governor himself. He's of the PDP. And, we'd like to hear from other people as well what their idea is and, just their impressions, because it's not going to be a sole APC race. We'll take a break now, but when we come back, if any other, interested party in the upcoming election wanted to call in, please feel free to do so. We'd like to hear your point of view as well. And I'm sure that Prince Ebenezer Adenio has nothing whatsoever against that. Right, Prince?
Problem.
Of course, no problem.
Stay ahead with the biggest news stories. Go beyond the news headlines. Experience impactful investigations. Enjoy resourceful news coverage in real time. TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. Live every day on this channel. TVC News. First with breaking news.
So welcome back, and still with Chief Press Secretary to the Ondo State Governor, Honorable Lucky Ayedatiwa, Prince Ebenezer Adenio. And as I was saying, just going away to the break there, that there are other parties that are interested in the exalted office of governor, and we'd like to hear from them or their spokespeople whoever, or their supporters, because we're focusing on Ondo governorship election, not the APC, interests solely, So we're not adverse at all. In fact, we look forward to hearing from other people as well. Because just talking about the candidate of the PDP, you as a journalist, I know I can speak to you about that. He's a former deputy governor himself. So there probably is a whole wealth of experience that he also has that's going to also factor into, his campaign from the rival PDP. I'm not thinking that you're going to be a spokesman for him, but it's just to understand the quality of the field, right? You can't deny the quality of the field. Even as you say, you have a formidable array that nobody can joke with in the upcoming election.
Sorry, what was the question?
Well, the question is, you have a quality field, and I don't know if you're concerned that we have men of the caliber of a former deputy governor also in the race. So he's coming to it with, with experience as well. That's in the person of Mr. Agbola Ajayi, the former deputy governor in Ondo State, who is fronting for the PDP.
Well, thank you very much. I did say earlier that we do not intend to underrate any opponent in the election. Like you said, the candidate of the PDP is a former deputy governor in the state. But I've also said that he's no match to the structure that we have in the ruling APC. As a matter of fact, when he left APC in 2020 to contest in PDP, the former state chairman of PDP at that time, Honorable Ebenezer Alabi, was his campaign director general in his effort to get the ticket of the PDP in 2020. And I can assure you, I can tell you that just last week, that same Honorable Ebenezer Alabi, who was his campaign DG in 2020 and who was the former state chairman of the PDP, has just left the party. This is a man who, when he was denied the ticket of the PDP, despite the fact that he came to the party within 3 months of the primary election, and he made a promise to the leadership of the party that whatever the outcome of that primary would be, that he was going to stay in the party and help the party win the election. But once he lost the ticket of the party, he ran away and he ran to Zenith Labour Party. And the people in PDP were trying to build their party in the absence of Honorable Agbola Ajayi. But once he saw that this election was coming, he came back to the PDP, and lucky enough for him, he was able to pick the ticket of the party. And when he picked the ticket of the party, most of those who have been responsible for keeping the party together in the last 3 years have deserted him, because they felt this is somebody who left them after losing the ticket in 2020. Now he's back in the party to contest election. You can't continue to use our platform the way you want. When you want to contest in the platform, you have to be consistent. The governor of Ondo State is a progressive politician. He came into politics ahead of the 2012 governorship election as a member of the then ACN. Since that time, he has never left the progressive fold. He has been very consistent. Even when he didn't get any reward for his efforts in the party, he was there in the party, helping the party to build and helping the party to come into office to regain, to take the governorship seat of the party. He has been consistent. But we have a candidate of the PDP that has been doing merry-go-round within all the political parties in Ondo State just because he wants to run election. So the major challenge that Honorable Agbola Ajayi has now is not APC. It's the PDP where he's running, because majority of the leaders of the PDP are angling to come to the APC on a daily basis. So he has the challenge of doing a lot of work to do the reconciliation within his party before he can even say he wants to face the APC on November 16th.
Okay. Daniel, Mr. Daniel in Abuja, good morning. Go ahead now, please.
Good morning, Priori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be part of this program this morning. And I want to ask the CPS to the governor. I'm happy that Ondo State there's no opposition because the opposition have not been active as we expected from an opposition party. But on the issue of the hunger in the country,
okay,
because I'm in Abuja and I follow up from the budget office what Ondo State gets every month from federal government, and we're not seeing the impact in the lives of the citizens of Ondo State. I will beg the CPS to explain more on what are they doing about food security and agriculture in Ondo State. Because, for example, I was in Ondo State last week. I branched somewhere around the Forgiwa Polytechnic to buy gari at 4,500. It's more expensive than what we get in Abuja. And it should not be so. The Ondo State will know before. So I will beg the CPS, they should do more about the agriculture and help the federal government. Because the government is doing best to the state. So they should make an impact. Not all about politics. The election is close, and we know that, okay, they might be the party to win, no problem about that, but they should try and make impact of those money they get from federal government on the life of the citizen of Ondo State. Okay. Thank you very much, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much, sir, for calling in. Okay then, Prince, go on.
Thank you very much. Well, the challenges that we have is a nationwide thing. It's not peculiar to Ondo State. Of course, we recognize that there is a rising cost of food items across the country. Not, I'm sorry to tell the caller that is not peculiar to Ondo State, but the government of Ondo State has been working hard to cushion the effects of the economic challenges that we have in the country. Just 2 weeks ago, Mr. Governor flagged up the distribution of food items to the vulnerable in the state. Of course, majority of those items came from the federal government, which was subsidized by the state government. And also during the same event, equipment were distributed to farmers in the state to ease their work. And in March this year, Mr. Governor flagged up construction of rural roads across the state to give farmers the opportunity to convey their products to city centers more effectively. And aside that, just this last week, the Ministry of Agriculture started a weekly market within the ministry where people can come to buy food items on cheaper rates, and that is going to be extended to the 18 local government areas of the state. And like I said, Mr. Governor is also giving farm inputs to farmers in order to reduce the cost of food items. I think in March or so, Mr. Governor distributed maize and other products to farmers to assist them for those who are into livestock and for those who may intend to plant them for maize. So we are doing all we can within the limit of resources to ensure that we cushion the effect of the economic challenges on our people.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Minimum resources, within the available resources, as you've said, it's tight all over. You made the point that it's not just in Ondo State, it's nationwide, as a matter of fact. Now, I wonder, what's the position? The governors have said that the minimum wage that has been agreed, even before it was finally agreed, had been sounding, shall I say, advisories that we won't be able to deliver even before the figure that was now agreed upon. Would you like to speak on this now that the collective bargaining has come up with 70,000 naira, and there are some states saying that is difficult? Is it going to be okay for Ondo?
Well, thank you very much. I may not have a definite answer on that yet, but I know that Ondo State is one of the states in the federation that implemented the last minimum wage that was facilitated by the federal government. And like I said earlier on this program, that Ondo State was paying the second highest wage award in the country of 35,000 naira to each worker in the state aside their monthly salary, which has now been extended to workers in the four tertiary institutions that we have in the state. I'm also aware that there will be a governors forum meeting, I think tomorrow in Abuja, and I know that the governors will take a position on the issue of minimum wage. And I can assure you that whatever position is taken by the governors on the implementation of minimum wage, Ondo State will be willing to play its part.
All right, but that's quite a difficult one because as it stands now, you were saying that when it was 35,000, Ondo was proudly among the states that were coming across. But here it is now double. Mazi Okorafo, thank you very much for holding on. Good morning to you, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, there is need for the for the governor at least to look into what this issue of having the service of forest guard. The forest guard, my brother knows very well what I mean by the forest guard. I think that will help the farmers because Ondo State is known for all those the items my brother just got. The most have expert ones in terms of forest guard. I agree for the motorcyclists, but the forest guard is very, very important so that the farmers will enhance all the natural resources from the state. Because it will also help the GDP of the state move forward. And education is very, very important. At least the government should also look at the decision of basic education, which some states are lacking. At least very, very important education because one of the evidence of democracy is education. Good morning, Mazu Krafo. I wish the governor at the state success. Thank you very much.
Okay, then. Prince Ebenezer Adenio, then there is also the the other latest news on the policy, which is the direct payment of funds. I wonder what happened to your picture. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Thank you for sorting that out. Yeah. So the local government, law that is going to come about now. What's the attitude of Government House to this? The change as a result of the executive's initiative, where local government councils are going to be getting their funding direct. Most governors have said that it's a law. They go along with it. They identify with it. Is that indeed the case as it relates to Ondo State?
Well, we do not have any issue with the judgment of the Supreme Court, and we do not have any issue concerning the efforts of the federal government to promote local government autonomy. But of course, we have also maintained that you need to do a little bit of restructuring of the policy in order to make local government autonomy work. Ondo State is not against local government autonomy, but we must go back to where things went wrong in the first instance. Local governments were getting their allocation directly early in this democracy in 1999. But there was a time that some local governments were complaining of zero allocation. I'll give you an example of Ondo State. In Ondo State at that time, in the 1999, 2001 era, for instance, the bigger local government areas like Akure South, like Ondo West, Okitigoba, Odigbo, will complain of zero allocation because the local government is charged with the responsibility of paying teachers' salary. And so when the allocation comes, the local government will pay all the salary of teachers. But the bigger local government areas have the bulk of the primary school facilities and
okay, it's sort of that's a bandwidth situation because Prince
the primary school teachers of their money of their have limited number of primary school teachers, and it was because of that the idea of joint allocation account came about from the governors, that we put the resources of the local government together. For instance, in Ondo State, we have 18 local government areas. We put
I think it also might be a matter of the weather.
payments. Then the remaining will be distributed to the local government along with the sharing formula from the federal government. And this is how we've been able to cope the challenges of payment of teacher salary.
Okay.
So if the federal government wants to go back to the idea of remitting resources to the local government directly, they first need to restructure the policy to review the challenges of primary schools, because you have the state being in charge of policy for primary education through the State Universal Basic Primary Education Board, but you have the local government taking the challenges of paying primary school teachers. For some of these local governments can't pay the primary school teachers if you give them the allocation directly, because they are going to use over 90% of that to pay primary school teachers. So when we talk about local government autonomy, we should also talk about how it's going to be operational. So it's not as if governors are against local government autonomy. But governors are saying that this should not be scratched on the surface. We need restructuring for you to be able to make local government autonomy work.
Okay. All right then. Mr. Dimeji in Abuja, good morning to you. Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in. Go ahead now, please.
All right. I am actually enjoying your program this morning, and I want to appreciate your guest, the CPS, to the governor of Ondo State. All right. I like to appreciate what you're doing this morning.
Thank you.
I also want to appreciate your guest there. I love his calmness and the understanding with which he's following all the issues. He's not showing any sense of pride. He's not underrating any candidate, and that's how it should be. The only thing I want to say is that we're from Ondo State, we're in Abuja here, we have a group, and we are interested in our state. We're praying that the governor will win. This is not the time for PDP to come. We don't want our state to be taken out of the mainstream. Presently, we have APC government in the country. We want our state to be in that same line. However, I would also want to call on our brother there that if there's a way, we here in Abuja, we have a group and we're thinking to come down. We're from Akoko area. We've been going home to do a lot of sensitization. If there's a way we can meet with you, we have a support too that we can bring. Some of us operated in the PCC for Tinubu in Abuja here, that's Presidential Campaign Committee, so we are interested. If there's a way we can connect, we have a role to also play there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, indeed, and also for your commentary.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. I'm aware I've had the opportunity of discussing with 2 or 3 members of the Ondo State community in Abuja. But I would like to tell the last caller, you can get in touch with me. You can visit my Facebook page. It carries my name, Ebenezer Adeniyo. And you can connect with me, and we'll see what we can do to bring you on board. Of course, we need everybody for the development of Ondo State. The people in Abuja are also crucial stakeholders in the development of Ondo State, and we'll be happy to have them on board. Okay.
It's interesting, clearly, the way the gentleman, I think it was Dimeji in Abuja, the way he put it, because I recall that when the certificate of returns in the primaries was being, handed to the candidate of the PDP at the time, they had made the statement that Ondo is for PDP. Ondo is for PDP to take. And I just recall that Mr. Dimeji said that we don't want any other party but the APC. So this
Ondo is a progressive state. Ondo will remain a progressive state.
Indeed. That's your own firm addition to the whole matter.
That's what the people of Ondo State are saying.
Indeed. Maybe can we just touch on what the governor met on ground and what he has been able to do in relation to healthcare delivery? Because education, we don't have all the time to get into those matters, but you spoke a bit about that. Speak a bit about what the governor is contending with in terms of healthcare delivery.
Oh, okay. Shortly, because one of the callers mentioned the issue of education.
Yes.
We are doing a lot there, particularly for the first time in the issue of the state now, we are recruiting teachers
You said that.
In
yes.
Ondo State. We are recruiting 2,000 teachers, 1,000 into primary sector and 1,000 into the secondary sector. So in the health sector, the Japa syndrome has also affected health sector just the way it's affecting it across the country. And so Mr. Governor has given the approval for the Ministry of Health to recruit over 600 health workers. We've done recruitment of about 100 before through the Civil Service Commission. Those have resumed work already, but the recruitment for the over 600 new batch is ongoing. The examination has been done. The initial shortlist for interview is going to be done very soon, and we'll have more personnel to be deployed across health facilities across the state. So we're also the health facilities, the major health facilities, tertiary health facilities that we have in the state. The Unimed Teaching Hospital in the complex in Akure is undergoing facelift now, and it's going to be commissioned in the next few weeks. So we are working across the state to ensure that we enhance healthcare delivery across the state.
Well, you know, there's so much to talk about, but we have limited time in which to do it. And so, by the way, thank you for keeping that answer short, because I know that on every topic that we've spoken about here, you as a consummate professional could go on, you know, at some length, but we're working within the dictates of a television program. I really do appreciate how you've worked with us on that. So I want to thank you very much for making the time to come on the program today and give us your perspective of Ondo in focus for the governorship election. Naturally, you fancy very highly your party and its success, but I imagine that that's the way it's going to be with the competitors as well. Nevertheless, I think I really did enjoy, you know, your overview of the efforts of the administration of Honorable Lucky Aiyedatiwa, the incumbent governor of Ondo State. Thank you very much for coming on the program. Okay then, so that's our program today then. We're going to have to leave it there. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.